Good evening and welcome to Algonquin Middle School. I'm Rob Messi, I'm the building principal. And tonight we're going to share with you our Grade 5 Parent Night program in a virtual format. And we're going to cover a number of different topics, but mostly focusing on our middle school curriculum and program. So what's on the agenda for tonight? Tonight I'm going to share some opening remarks about Algonquin, a little bit about our learning environment. We'll go over the Grade 6 curriculum. We'll take a look at a student schedule. And we'll talk about ways that the middle school communicates with families on a regular basis. And we'll talk about the transition to middle school and help to make it a smooth transition for your child this year. Here's a little bit about our learning environment. Our school is structured around 2 teams per grade level. That means in each one of the grade levels, there's 2 identical teams of set of teachers. There's 1 ELA teacher on one team, 1 ELA teacher on the other team. The teams are identical in their nature and composition, and we provide an outstanding program that's identical on both teams. We have a grade level wing set up in our building. If you haven't viewed our virtual tour, I'd recommend doing that. We'll show you some links for that at the end of this presentation as well. But our building is structured around grade level wings. So 6th grade is grouped together along 15 classrooms that is in a pod of its own. So we have really great organization to our building. We have a morning meeting program that takes place each morning, and students will gather as a group in a homeroom setting where teachers will conduct morning meeting activities. We'll watch the morning announcements, which are broadcast live by our 8th graders each morning. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, of course. That's when we read our One School, One Book. So as a school, we read one book each year that has a character education theme and component to it. And we're very proud of that program. And we'll conduct other activities as well. That's a lot of fun and a good chance for us to build some community in the morning. School also has an access period that's built into the middle of the day, and that happens around the lunch hour. Students can participate in band, orchestra, and chorus during that time, as well as have their academic intervention services, special education services are provided, and there's also a study hall component as well for students who are not doing those other activities at that time. Access is a time for kids to be able to meet with their teachers. The grade level wing is shut down, and all staff are available to help out students with activities and assignments that they may have questions about. And that really is a reflection on the outstanding and caring faculty that we have at Algonquin who are very committed to your child's success. Our course of study in grade 6 is challenging and engaging. It's based on the New York State standards, and we've developed literacy skills that are built in across the content areas. So we're doing reading and writing in each one of our contents. We really emphasize in middle school the importance of independence and self-direction, and that's a process that continues throughout 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. But our goal is to help make your child more independent and self-directed. And that is a major process that takes place between parents and students and teachers. There is an increasing expectation as the year goes on, so students will be expected more of towards the end of the year than they are at the beginning of the year, of course, in their academics and in their independence. And we have many project-based assignments. We value creativity and collaboration, and we emphasize that in the work that we do with students. Here's a quick overview of the content that's covered in the different classes in 6th grade. In science, we work on lab skills, geology, ecology, biology, and the scientific method. In social studies, we focus on ancient Egypt, ancient Rome and Greece, the Middle Ages, the age of exploration, and geography skills. In Math 6, it's algebra, it has expressions, equations, and inequalities, of course. Statistics, ratios, rates, and proportions, and everybody's favorite, dividing fractions. English language arts and literacy, they're 2 classes that work together very closely, with ELA focusing on writing and the literacy class focusing on reading skills. And they cover several outstanding books and also short stories throughout the course of the school year using the New York State Engaged New York curriculum. Visual literacy, art, and design is a class that takes place every other day for students. It is an engaging class that has 2 components. One is art instruction through visual literacy with principles of design and traditional digital art making with an emphasis on student creation. And those are the embedded project-based learning skills that we talk about. This very unique course also builds in middle school success skills. And that includes healthy decision-making and counseling center presentations, as well as how to effectively use your one-to-one Chromebook as well. Languages other than English, which is LOTE, is an exploratory program in 6th grade in which we cover French and Spanish. It's a chance for students to be exposed to the cultures of French and Spanish cultures and language skills, and then to make an informed decision towards the end of their sixth grade year. Again, this course meeting every other day, where they'll decide which they would like to take in seventh and eighth grade, French or Spanish. Physical education has an emphasis on lifelong activities and personal fitness. This picture is of our rock wall in the old gym, which is also featured in our virtual tour. But students are developing not only sports skills, but really lifelong activity skills. Our exploratory program, which is opposite PE, offers students the opportunity to engage in TEAM. TEAM is a technology and media literacy class. It is paperless, using the Chromebooks and personal devices, with an emphasis on internet safety and social networking expectations for positive engagement. Students will complete Google expeditions and coding and vlogging, and they have a final project using school iPads as well. We're really trying to emphasize digital literacy and digital skills through the TEAM class, which is taught by our library media specialist, Rebecca Ekstrom, in the library. FACS is Family and Consumer Sciences, and it's a 13-week exploratory course in sixth grade, focusing on goal setting, nutrition, food prep, basic kitchen skills, and adolescent growth and development. Medical Explorations class is a 13-week exploratory as well, and this class takes place with our science teachers in our lab environment, with students studying human biology, health concepts, and careers in medical fields. As we mentioned at the beginning of this video, Access is a specialized time in our school, a time for independent homework completion, but also a chance for students to be able to seek out support from teachers when they need it. Band, orchestra, and chorus take place during this time. There's interventions that are offered for reading, writing, and math. And then also special education services are provided during this time. Students can also visit the library and the counseling center should they need to do so during Access. Access is offered on a 2-day rotation, so students have the opportunity to do 2 things during Access in their schedule. On day 1, blue days, it could be band, perhaps. On day 2s, it could be chorus, or there could be an intervention that's offered in there, or a special education service, or a time to do some homework. Speaking of band, orchestra, and chorus, sign-up is going on now, and as we just mentioned, you can choose 2 of those activities to participate in during your school schedule. We strongly encourage families to enroll their child in at least one of the music groups, either band, orchestra, or chorus, but again, you can choose up to 2. Here's a sample student schedule. We have blue days and gold days here at Algonquin. Blue days are our day 1 schedule, and let's run down this schedule very briefly. On a blue day, students will enter the building at 7:45 a.m. They'll have their morning meeting class, which will take place from 7:45 to 8:11. Follow that up, we have a 42-minute class for this student in social studies. After that, this student has PE, and then they're back to the 6th grade wing for ELA. Load is next up on the agenda. That's an every other day class, so the student has it on blue day. And then lunch for 6th grade is at 11:09, and that's starts at 11:09, a 30-minute lunch has a recess period built inside of it as well, which is a lot of fun for students. So typically students will eat, either they can eat for the entire 30 minutes in the cafeteria at the picnic tables. That's absolutely fine. But most students will finish up their eating in about 15 to 20 minutes, and they can use the remaining time to go outside and play basketball, hang out with friends, play soccer, do other activities in the recess area with our PE coaches helping to supervise. After that is our Access time, where, of course, band, orchestra, and chorus take place as well. Starting at 12:15, we're back on the academic track with classes kicking off again with math, followed up that with literacy, and then for this student, science. Now, when you look at the gold day schedule, you'll notice similarities, and it connects and is very similar for morning meeting as well as social studies. Notice the difference here with PE being on blue days. We have our exploratory classes that take place on gold days. ELA is a 42-minute consistent class as well each day. Load on blue days. Gold days is visual literacy for this student. That's the art class we discussed earlier. Again, in Access, there are every other day options. So a student could have Access on both days for homework completion, or they could have a music group on one day and then homework completion on the other day, or an intervention or special education service that's provided during that time as well. Again, 2 choices for Access, blue and then gold days. And then again, consistent classes for math, literacy, and science on each day in blue and gold schedules. We pride ourselves at Algonquin on our number of extracurricular activities and events for students. Here's just a small sampling of the things that students will do after school or during access. After school, we encourage kids to stay after regularly and to participate in our extracurricular and enrichment activities that occur after the end of the day. Teachers are available on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays when our late bus service takes place. And late buses are a great opportunity for students to stay after, work with their teachers on activities and assignments, things that they might need help with, get extra support, have some fun with their friends, of course, too, and then ride the late bus home at 3:15. It's a great chance for kids to express their independence as well, and also take responsibility for their learning and their own enjoyment in these extracurricular activities. At Algonquin, we pride ourselves on communicating effectively with families. We try our best and work very hard on this initiative. We have a weekly email blast that's sent home to all families each Wednesday from the main office, and it's regarding general communications, things that are coming up in the building, things to be aware of, things to plan for. In general, we ask that if you need to reach out to a teacher, please email them. Email is a preferred contact for teachers as opposed to voicemail or messages that are left in the main office. Send the teacher an email that you'd like to speak on the phone, perhaps, and they'd be glad to return your phone call at their most earliest convenience. Parent-teacher conferences is a change at the middle school level versus the elementary level, and parent-teacher conferences happen at the request of teachers or by the request of families. Again, not something that is provided to each student, which is, again, different than from the elementary level, but certainly we're glad to meet with you should there be a concern or a question that you would like to have answered by the team. We are a Google school. We have used Google to its maximum, particularly this year, where we've had Google Classrooms set up for all of our classes. We've had those well in advance of the current distance learning environment that we're working in these days. But we use Google Classroom as a way to have customized web pages for the classes and for our scheduled things that are going on. We have a homework calendar that's provided as well. And that is also viewable on our main homepage too. And that homework calendar has been a main source of information for families over the past several years. Our website is filled with information. If you haven't explored it a little bit, we encourage students and parents to do that, to check out all the information that we provide on our webpage, a lot of resources and links that are there for you to learn more about Algonquin. Next up, School Tool is our live gradebook here at Algonquin. We know that students have School Tool account, parents have School Tool accounts at the elementary level. At the middle school level, we provide them also to students and to parents. So both students and parents have School Tool at the building level here at AMS. Students have a live gradebook view so they can see how they're doing on their individual courses and how they're doing on their assignments right there in School Tool. We encourage families to check that regularly. Copies of report cards are posted on School Tool as well, as we do not mail those home. Attendance information is available on School Tool, and it's also a place where you can find all of the email addresses for all of your child's classes by clicking on the Scheduling tab. We are a one-to-one Chromebook school, and our goal with this program is not to have students spend more time staring at screens. Rather, our goal is to provide access and equity in access to all students, to make sure that every student has the ability to use technology and to develop their skills and complete assignments both remotely and in the building on a common page on a similar platform. The Chromebook travels between home and school so that parents will be able to see their student work on their Chromebook at home, and students will be able to do their homework on them, and then they need to be brought back to school each day. It's a joint effort between the school and home to monitor student use of technology. And one of the most important things to do as a family and as a school is to set limits and parameters around the use of Chromebooks and other personal devices. We know that middle schoolers often come to school with cell phones. That's fine. Students do not need cell phones, though, while they're in school. And as a result, we ask that all cell phones are off and in lockers during the school day. One exception, students are allowed to use their cell phone in the cafeteria where we provide Wi-Fi. Should they need to access their cell phone, they can do so during lunch, and they certainly can message or call family members at that point as well. We also provide school phones in the classrooms and in the main office for students who need to contact their parents during the school day. That's not a problem as well. At home, with its Chromebooks, We ask that you charge Chromebook. Your child charges their Chromebook overnight in a common space so that it's viewable and accessible by parents. Again, we talk about setting limits and parameters around cell phone and personal device use, both in the school and at home, and then also encouraging families to monitor their student use of technology so that they're making sure that their child is doing so in an appropriate way. At Algonquin, we have 3 guiding character education principles, and we talk about these a lot at AMS. We call them the Warrior Way. Principle number 1 emphasizes the importance of respecting oneself and all members of the AMS community. Principle 2, talking about never settling for less than our personal best and putting forth our best effort at all times. And finally, number 3, we try to make our school a better place each day through our words and our actions. These 3 character education principles were developed by students and staff at AMS a couple of years ago, and they've redefined our school and helped us become a better place for our students each and every day too. When we think about getting ready to come to Algonquin and we think about the move to middle school, it certainly can be a time of transition, and it is. It's a larger school environment. We recognize that. We know that it's a larger school than your home elementary building. We also know that students will face increased academic expectations throughout the year and then continuing throughout their middle school experience. We want to remember that homework is assigned by class, and generally they're short assignments each night. We ask teachers not to assign more than 15 minutes of homework every other day, and that seems to work out pretty well. If your child is spending more than an hour doing any kind of homework assignments from AMS on a given night, we want to know about that. That's some feedback we would want to hear about. Again, as we talk about moving to the middle school, we're talking about increasing responsibility and ownership of student learning, and that's an important thing to remember. A book I read earlier this year, back in the fall, is called Middle School Matters, and it's written by a former school counselor, and they talk about 10 key skills every kid needs to thrive in middle school and beyond, and how parents can help. It's a good book. I don't know if I agree with everything that's in the book. I don't know if you will either, but it was great to read and to think about the different concepts and to refocus and think about what exactly life is like as a middle schooler. If you're interested in this topic, copies of this book are available through public libraries and also available through bookstores as well. Here are some reminders. We have our transition webpage, which we offer you as a one-stop spot to learn more about AMS. But in particular, your child and you can view 360-degree photos of AMS, a chance for you to immerse yourself in Algonquin, even though we can't give you a physical tour this evening. We also have videos from staff and students, and we have a few more that are planned for the coming months as well. And as we watch for September, we're going to be planning to watch for updates as well. Of course, we know, given the current situation in the world, we are all waiting and watching to find out what exactly the transition will look like in September, but we will certainly provide more information and support and guidance, particularly for our incoming 6th graders, as we get closer to the beginning of the school year. When we think about how parents can help with this transition to middle school, we want to encourage you to resist the urge to, quote unquote, let go. And it's a natural inclination that when a student moves to the middle school and then also to the high school, to let go a little bit, to allow your child to have more freedom and independence when that move to middle school happens. I would encourage you to not do that just yet, to do that on an incremental basis and to continue the supports and procedures that you have at home in terms of monitoring homework and engagement and activity. Continue with those great things that you've been doing throughout your child's elementary program. Continue that as you start the 6th grade year as well. We ask that kids complete homework assignments the night that it's given so that things don't sneak up on them. We think about reminding the student of the importance of school. One thing that's really interesting is that the most important thing that parents can do, according to the most recent research out there in the education world, is simply talking about school and talking about the importance of education and how it can open doors for students and their future. That's the most important thing parents can do. It's a surprising thing. You would think that all of the many things that we do as parents to support our children are very, very effective, and they are. But the most important one is talking about the importance of education for their future. We ask that if you do have a question or concern that happens during school, we ask that you take the time to talk with your child that night about any questions or concerns first. Talk with your child and then follow up with your child's teacher if you need to beyond that. As you think about the middle school experience in general, we would encourage you to help your child find ways to find reading for pleasure and to encourage that love of literacy. That lifelong reading skill is so important. Talk about future plans with your child. So ask them what they think. What do they want to do? Talk about or even visit colleges. Each year we have visitors from RPI that come and visit our school, and we've had college admissions officers as well come to Algonquin. And it may seem unusual to talk about college admissions or careers and things of that nature when we're talking about moving from 5th to 6th grade. But what we've heard over and over again from those in post-secondary world is that it's important to start having kids think about their college and career plans as early as possible. And so we encourage you to think about that throughout the middle school years too. We also want you to know that at Algonquin, we have a number of high school credits that we encourage students to complete as a way of preparing for the Advanced Regents Diploma. And the Advanced Regents Diploma is the new standard. It's really what was the Regents Diploma back when we went to school. Nowadays, it's the Advanced Regents Diploma, which is the marker for students to be prepared for 2- and 4-year colleges. And we want our students to have that degree designation. We'll have more information about that as your child continues on. But we just encourage you to consider the Advanced Regents Diploma for your kid at this point. We have an outstanding Algonquin parent organization, and it is rare to have such a rich environment for parent support in a middle school in our state or in our country at this day and age. We are so blessed to have APO help us out, and we encourage you to be involved and support their good work. What a great organization they are. So there you have it. That was our very brief overview of the Algonquin instructional program, our curriculum, the student experience, and some thoughts about the transition to middle school. I hope that this presentation was helpful to you in getting a better overview of our school and our program. And I look forward to looking at the questions that have been submitted, and we'll do a question and answer session in our next video segment coming up next week. Have a great night.